seen any convictions yet, so we have to be careful not to make statements that guys are guilty when they're not. Everybody will have to go to court and defend themselves. But what this war of corruption has done is it's made government officials, elected officials who are in positions of power, a little more careful, because they know that those days where you do whatever you feel like doing and get away with it are gone. So there's a lot of people in court, not just the former governor, and we just have to wait to see what their defense is, and if guys are caught culpable, I think they must pay for it.
At the same time, the present governor of Nairobi County is being investigated by the EACC, and he's been grilled several times. And he says, by the way, he's willing to step aside if the allegations are true. What are your thoughts?
I saw on TV a clip him saying that he's not being investigated, and he was just being called as the CEO of the county to answer some questions that happened under his watch. So I don't know if that is true or not. Who do we believe? Is he being investigated? Is he not being investigated? The EACC say he's being investigated. My thoughts are he shouldn't be special than anybody else. If there's things that he's overseen or he's done as a person that are against the law, then the law should apply consistently across the board to everybody. And that way you begin to have institutions that work, so that the law just doesn't capture one person and lets other people go, either because of social status or because of how deep your pockets are, or because of the position that you hold. The law should be the law and applied consistently across the board.
Tell me something. When he says that he's willing to step aside, is that a gimmick, you think, for him, or what do you think he would say something like that?
It baffled me also, especially because he's the governor of Nairobi and he knows that if he steps aside, we will have a constitutional crisis. The law says, again, that the deputy governor will take over when the governor is not there, for whatever reason. And the framers of the constitution were wise enough to put it again in the supreme law that if you have the governor and the deputy governor both not being there, then the speaker takes over for another 60 days and then you go to an election. But in Nairobi County, there's no deputy governor.
There's no
speaker. The speaker is there on paper. The MCAs won't let her into the office, so how would she be able to preside if she can't step into City Hall? So we'll be in a very deep constitutional crisis, which to me has been brought about by lack of leadership.
And tell me something, one deputy. Would the, majority leader in the MCA, or whatever they call that, would that person be the temporary governor in that case?
Nope. There is no provision like that in law. So you actually be in a constitutional crisis, and that will have to go to a constitutional court to interpret what would happen. And my guess is go to an election.
Yeah, because like you said, the MCAs won't let Beatrice Elachi anywhere near City County Hall, and she hasn't worked in more than a year.
Correct.
There's Polycarp left soon after the election. It's crazy, man.
It is.
In the most powerful county in the state.
It's the heartbeat of the country. And that's why I said lack of leadership. As the governor, he should never put Nairobi in a situation like this. And I'm not saying this because I have anything against Governor Sonko. I'm just now a citizen looking in from the outside. And you should not be able to put the heartbeat, the center of the city, in such a position. Because it's been put in such a position, he wouldn't name a deputy governor. He says there is no law to do it, but there was an interpretation that allowed the Nyeri governor, Governor Mutahi, to appoint a deputy. Soon you're going to see the new Bomet governor name a deputy. So we wonder what's so special with Nairobi that you can't have a principal assistant to the governor, which is a slot that's quite important.
At the same time, Sonko, I mean, do you think he has outlasted his bigger use?
Usefulness.
Yes, because he was very critical and key to Jubilee's victory in Nairobi County and around the country, wherever the president or the Jubilee would go. Sonko was a point man. People loved to listen to this man. People were demanding to. You think now he's outlasted his use?
Jeff, I think it's the other way around. I think Sonko needed Jubilee more than Jubilee needed Sonko, and I'll tell you why. Since multi-party elections in 1992, when we became a multi-party state, Nairobi has always voted for the party, and it's not just the party, it's the top two parties, where you have two horses, presidential candidates running. And that's how Nairobi votes. It doesn't really vote for the individual. So there's a few outliers. So in 1992, Nairobi had 8 constituencies. 6 of them went with Ford Asili for Kenneth Matiba. 1 went with the late Amin Walji for Westlands, and the other, Raila Odinga, with Ford Kenya in Kibera, in Langata. Come 97, DP, with Mwai Kibaki, had actually 7 of the 8 constituencies, because Betty Tet beat Fred Gumo in that election, but the state intervened. You remember the big fiasco, even where Gumo assaulted Betty Tet at railway station, which was the tallying center at the time, and he was forced to become the KANU MP. And of course, Raila Odinga again took the Langata seat on NDP. Come 2002, because of the NARC coalition, all 8 members of parliament were NARC. Then 2007, it was 4 and 4. ODM took 4, PNU took 4. 2013, constituencies were increased. ODM took 9, Jubilee took 7. And 2017, Jubilee took 8, ODM took 7, and Jubilee took 9, ODM took 7, and Wiper took 1. So it's really party politics that plays here in Nairobi. People say, who are we voting for president? Then from there, they come down and they start taking. So if even you look at the elections, you'll find that the presidential candidate gets almost the same amount of votes, plus or minus, than the governor or the women rep or the senator in that county. So if he was an individual and he had gone as an independent, I'm not sure he'd have won the election.
Really? Okay, bottom line. Is Sonko in trouble right now?
He's not been seen for the last 1 week. The governor of Nairobi should be very visible. So I'm not quite sure what's going on in his mind. I'm not sure why he has not been to the office. Again, I saw a clip aired on K24 the other day saying that he's just not gone to the office. He switched off his phones and he's nowhere to be seen. Nobody can trace him. For me, again, speaking as a citizen and a voter in Nairobi, that should worry a lot of people, because now you have the capital city with no leadership, and the only leader can't be found. Again, that's why I stress, that's why you need a deputy. Because if there's a deputy governor who's the principal assistant, and the law says that when the governor is not there, the governor takes charge of the county. Now there's nobody taking charge of the county. And that should worry a lot of people, including the president of this nation.
Si kuna mtu alikuwa deputy last time na hana kazi sasa hivi. Na anajua hiyo kazi.
Anajua. Alipiga tizi na make decisions ambazo hazijampeleka kwa ile. Why not?
Hiyo ni mambo ya wananchi. Hiyo ni mambo ya wananchi.
Wanahitaji kuoneshwa.
Hiyo lazima turudi kwa wananchi.
Debe.
Lazima turudi kwa Debe.
Okay, speaking of Debe, Deputy, Kibra.
Yes.
Kibra's a mess. Something that people thought would be a shoo-in, an obvious by-election, has turned out to be a mess. The Jubilee candidate was still trying to find his birth certificate. Jubilee had, because of BBI, they said, oh, you know what? It didn't turn out that way. There's a lot of ODM bickering. They're not happy with their candidate. Oh my goodness. What's going on?
I think our politics is beginning to change a little bit, and the people's voices are getting heard. And if you looked at when the party leader of ODM, Raila Odinga, went to Kibera to unveil the candidates and gave all of them a chance. You saw one comical one kneeling and praying to their party leader.
He was the darling of the crowd.
And I've had a few people saying that only Kibra can stop reggae.
And it was literally stopped.
But if you look at that clip, Imran Okoth was not even allowed to talk to the crowd. He wasn't allowed to address the people because the people at that rally booed him off stage. And everybody thought that he was done deal and he had been rejected by the Kibera people. But we're beginning to see that paid hecklers at political rallies, paid bloggers who abuse leaders every day on social media, do not speak for the larger constituency. And we have a silent majority who look at some of these clowns and just smile and say, you know what, when time comes, we will make our voice heard. And Imran Okoth won that vote decisively at more than 3 times the vote of the number 2. The guy who couldn't speak at the headquarters of Kibera Kamkunji grounds. In Gatwick Kera. So it's the people who are coming up and saying, hey, we understand what we want in a leader, and we are going to stamp our authority, which is good. And Imran is following in his brother's footsteps. Indeed, he used to assist his brother in the projects in Kibera, educating children, ensuring that schools are built, and just espousing good leadership. I think people realize that.
So it's not just a sympathy vote?
I don't think it's a sympathy vote. It's a vote that people of Kibera are saying, listen, we want the good work to continue because we've tasted good leadership and we don't want to gamble with it anymore. Lives have been touched, guys, in Kibera, and people are responding, which gives me a lot of hope because there is room for good leaders in this country.
Well, Deputy, do you think someone in Jubilee dropped a ball so hard they never saw that coming?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Something like that should never happen to the largest political party in the country. They should be able to have systems and processes to vet candidates before they come in. So this business of candidates just showing up and saying, I am popular, I have name recognition, and you give them the seat based on that should be the past. If I ran a political party and I had ideologies for that political party, and somebody came to me and told me, I am so popular, I can win this seat, I would match their ideology with the political party's ideology. And if they don't match, I should be able to say, thanks, but no thanks. You don't fit here. And I think that's how you build good institutions. You just don't get anybody to come to the party. You have to vet the people who come to the party. Because when they come in, they can turn your house upside down.
Absolutely.
That's what they've done in Jubilee. Mariga has turned Jubilee upside down.
And anyone who didn't think there was a rift in Jubilee,
it's so obvious. It's so obvious. I mean, Jubilee as a party leader, nobody is associating the Jubilee candidate in quotes with the party leader. That's a problem.
Which makes
That's a problem.
Which makes us all, or many people, believe that he is a project of Deputy President William Ruto. Is it? I mean, look, Stevie Wonder could see this. Sorry.
Yeah, but at least that's what the perception is, and in politics, perception is everything.
So, I mean, what does that say going forward? That this party will have to come to a head at some point. They'll have to come to a head.
Well, what's happening in Kibera really can't define how Jubilee is going to look like. It's really just one constituency out of 290, and it's a drop in the ocean. It's just been highlighted out of proportion because it's the only thing politically that's going on now, the Kibera by-election. So that's why it seems like something really big. But in the bigger scheme of things, bigger deal, it really is a storm in a teacup. And I think Jubilee will be able to come out of it. I just hope, because again, that's the largest political party, and you want to have strong institutions, I hope that they learn, the leadership of Jubilee learn from this, and vet your candidates properly. I mean, if you can't even tell how old your candidate is, we have a problem.
We have a problem.
If you can't even tell if your candidate is fit to run in an election, has a voter's card, then I think someone dropped the ball.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Houston, we have a problem. Let me put it in a different way, Bwana Deputy. In Kandara, was it Kiharu? Kiharu last weekend.
Yes.
Again, the Kielewekes and the Tangatangas came head to head in the form of Maina Kamanda and Nyoro. And again, an ugly scene in a church on a Sunday. Ugly scenes.
Yeah, unacceptable. Leaders should be people that our children look up to. And if you guys have children and you don't want your children to behave like how we see some of our leaders behaving, then those people, I'm sorry, are not fit to hold those positions. Yeah, Kenya is a free country. I did see some of those clips. I'm neither Tanga nor Kieleweke, so I can speak independently on this matter. But I think the MP for Kiharu was completely out of order. Yeah, there's where we've reached today in Kenya. You, Jeff, or Hamo, you should be able to go to any part of the country and do any function as long as it is within the law. And nobody should be able to come and stop you. Even the police should not be able to come and stop you. Yeah, and that's where our democracy has reached. Yeah, we're a young democracy, but we are a very functional democracy, and we should cherish that with everything that we have. So Maina Kamanda has been invited as a guest of honor to a church, and he is the guest of honor, so he takes charge of that function.
Yes.
Yeah, not of the constituency. He's not going to take the CDF funds and build a hospital or a school. He's the guest of honor of a church. And that guest of honor could have been me or you or somebody from Turukana. You know what I mean? But now the MP comes and says, I'm the only person here who should have this microphone because I'm elected by the people in Muranga. I think he should be punished severely for that, to send a very strong message to all other leaders that you cannot do that.
And then he comes to Citizen and says he's not going to leave.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Safe heaven.
Hapa. Jalala hapa.
Sitoki Citizen.
You know, that was one of the days that Citizen itself did not need to leave the gates to make news or to get news. The news was right here.
My goodness.
The desperation in our leaders.
And again, you know, Tanga Kieleweke, it shows more rifts in this party. You're saying is the most powerful, the biggest party, more rifts. It's obvious.
But let me just reiterate something. The law, you know, the difference between rich countries and poor countries, the difference between successful countries and failed countries is how strong the institutions are. It's not how clever the people are, it's not how much natural resources they have, it's not what kind of president they have, it's about the institutions they have and how strong they are. And that's why every time I get a chance to come on air, I always say, if you let the institutions work consistently across the board, we would be very, very far as a country. Yeah, and here the institution, that is the law enforcement institution and the judicial system, needs to look at what happened in Kiharu and apply the law very, very firmly, so that if the MP for Kiharu was found to have been against the law, he needs to be punished for it. Because when you let things like that slide, sometimes you can laugh about it and think it is just a joke, but it yields a bigger problem of the impunity that we see. And people begin to think that you can do whatever it is you want and get away with it. Gentlemen, we have to clip that in the bud.
You know what? You're so right when you say that, because once Nyoro was arrested for he was detained and questioned for a few minutes or a couple of hours, and then released into the hands of his people, and he became an instant hero.
Correct. That's a problem. Yeah. And then you have to ask yourself, if it was somebody else but him, would he have been charged in court? And that's why I'm saying you have to really apply the law very, very carefully and balanced. That's why they're called the scales of justice. They have to be balanced across everyone. And you can see now Kenyans are beginning to get fed up, where they're saying, wait a minute, you're stealing billions of shillings and you're out there running around, and somebody else has stolen a chicken from the neighbor and is in jail. And that unrest, at some point, it's a time bomb waiting to explode. And, you know, we just beg the leadership of this country to ensure that these institutions work fairly across the board.
You know, Deputy, you mentioned that Kenyans are getting more savvy. Do you see, is that where we're going now? People more in tune with the kind of leadership they want or don't want?
Yeah, it might not be anything to do with Kenyans as a people, but it's a global phenomenon with technology. I mean, now everybody, even your grandmother or great-grandmother, has a telephone in their pocket, and they can see what's happening around the world, and people are beginning to ask themselves questions. Hey, wait a minute, how come somebody like me in another part of the world has money in their pockets, can take their children to school? When they get sick, they don't have to die. They can go to a hospital with medicine, and I'm here and not being able to get the same thing. Yet we both belong to the same race, the human race. And people now are beginning to see that. And especially our younger people, who are the majority, are getting more enlightened. And they're beginning to say, wait a minute, we don't have to live like this. We too want to be able to be successful, take care of ourselves, and take care of our families. And that's why you're hearing voices coming up and saying, we need a revolution. Or these guys can't take us for granted anymore. These are people who are just airing their views, and they're saying, listen, we are tired of being poor, we are tired of being neglected, and even we want to be treated and enjoy our lives as human beings. And if the leadership doesn't hear that and change to be people driven and to be people's servants, then you'll begin to see what's happening in other countries where the people get up and they uproot their leaders.
But at the same time, Sonko would walk into any function with gold watches and gold bling and chains and a gold mokwato, gold and people people seem to applaud that.
There's nothing wrong with that. The leadership is not about what clothes you wear on your back or how many earrings you have. Leadership is competency. Yeah, leadership is what do you do with the job you're given, and how does that impact society. So I have no problem with the governor wearing however many rings and things, but we all know what the job of a governor of Nairobi is. Is he doing it? That is the bigger problem. And you know, I listen to Hot 96 all the time. This station kicks because you guys are competent and you know how to do your jobs. If you go get some guy from the street who has never seen a microphone and you put him here and say, now run this station, it will collapse in a week. Because they don't know how. It doesn't mean they're bad people.
No.
They just don't know how to run a radio station. So it will flop.
But then you were talking about the world politics, the phenomenon of populism. The Trumps, the Boris Johnsons, the Sonko, populism still exists because Sonko again would walk into any crowd and the people go crazy.
Wow, then.
People go nuts.
Now the difference between some of those developed countries and ourselves is they have institutions that work. And when you have institutions that work, it doesn't matter who is president. The institutions would make sure that that president is not able to do certain things that would harm the greater good of the people. Now, are we there yet as a country, or can we get somebody who's populist who can come in and abuse the institutions? And leadership is a very, very, very important thing. I'll give you an example of our president, Uhuru Kenyatta. During his first 5 years, you saw institutions like the DPP and the DCI not quite working. But during his second term, those are the most applauded institutions. And you sit down and think, wait a minute, what changed? It's the same DCI, it's the same DPP as an institution. Why is it working now and it wasn't working 3 years ago? But the president woke up one morning and said, listen, we are going to do things differently. And with a snap of a finger, you start getting institutions that work. That's how important it is to have good leadership at the top, because the president can decide which way the country will go, for better or for worse, and it happens because he or her is the president. So it's very important as we go to vote, we begin to look at not looks, you begin not to look at how much somebody can make you laugh at a rally or how good they can dance. Let's begin to think that, wait a minute, what is it I want in life as a voter, and can this person we are voting for deliver it? Then we'll begin to progress as a country.
We're looking at Twitter now. Wayne Bryan says, I like the way former Deputy Governor Mweke is articulating issues. He can make a better governor than Sonko. Pass my greetings.
Asante.
We want conservative and highly dignified leaders. But Deputy, do you think it was a mistake to include Nairobi County as a county, or should it have been under some kind of metropolitan ministry, just like the District of Columbia in the States, or the other several examples around the world? Do you think it was a mistake to have Nairobi as a county?
No, I don't think so, because there is a law that is called the Urban Cities and Areas Law that mandates Nairobi to form a partnership with the national government, because it recognizes that Nairobi by itself, being the seat of power, it's the headquarters of the United Nations, it hosts the judiciary, the executive, both houses of parliament, Senate and the National Assembly, and the framers of that law recognize that Nairobi cannot service all these institutions by itself, and it does need the input of the national government. So there must be, and the law does not say may, it says shall. There shall be a partnership between Nairobi and the national government. I think for us, during our time, what happened is because of the different political party differences, that relationship didn't work very well. There's two things that happened, and we thank the president for that. We signed a deal with Kenya Power in front of the president to reduce our street lighting to like 4 shillings a kilowatt hour from 15 shillings.
Wow.
And that's why we were able to light up Nairobi. Otherwise, we'd never been able to afford the electricity bill. Wow. So we increased street lights from 20,000 from 20,000 to 60,000, triple, because now we could pay the electricity bill. And we did that in partnership with Kenya Power, with the orders from the president. So that's a partnership that really worked. And now this time around, I think the president put together a committee called the Nairobi Regeneration Committee. And that is supposed to help Nairobi prosper. So I don't think Nairobi should be a ministry, because you want an elected official to represent the people of Nairobi and allow the people of Nairobi to have a choice on who runs Nairobi. But what we need to ensure happens in Nairobi is everybody does their job. The national government comes in as per the law to assist in Nairobi operations. And Nairobi also has good leadership that ensures that the Nairobi economy keeps moving, because that's what Nairobi is about. It's the business hub. You have to keep businesses running, you have to keep people doing business. You can't go around threatening people that you'll demolish them here and there, or you'll destroy their businesses. You can't do that in the city.
Speaking of which, are you surprised that 2 of the largest counties in terms of economy, their governors are under investigation? Nairobi County, Kiambu County, right next to each other, and together they probably form 75% of the GDP?
Yes.
Both governors under investigation.
Yes. I can bet you that whoever is sitting in Treasury is feeling that heat in the economy. Yeah, I can bet you. Kiambu is a little better off because they have a deputy governor. So things have quieted down. And
deputy governor with no powers?
Well, he can run the county to some extent. The only thing he can't do is appoint or fire cabinet members. But he can run the county, and the law provides for that. When the governor is not there, the deputy provides the leadership. So he does have powers, just that he can't change the structure of government.
Right.
Yeah.
But why did you?
Alifugiwa hata ofisi.
You know the person who's laughing the most right now? Kafa.
Na alituambia mapema. Kafa. Kabla ya tenure.
Yes.
Ishe, mtakuwa mmepelekana koti.
There you go. Words come back to haunt us. Gongu Kiari says, Jonathan Mweke is such an eloquent, sensible politician. Great interview. Alafu General Nyaga.
Yes.
Yani Mweke can summarize the Kenyan election since 1992.
Hapo ndio nilishikia.
Now, Matiba akashinda viti.
Wakagawana.
Wow.
Ine.
Na kuna watu wamesahau Matiba ni nani.
Wacha. Kuna mtu ako kwa ofisi saa hii na ajui anafanya nini. Saa hii anasikia hizo. Hata yanagojea hizo vitu points zako. Ndio azitumie kwa meeting. Keep delivering. Ako na meeting na ajui kabisa statistic gani atapeleka. So we are waiting on you. Please keep sharing. Enlighten this man.
Yes. Bottom line, is there hope here? Is there hope? Because
Yes.
there's war and corruption on one side. There's leaders, like you said, being arrested or investigated, but there's been no significant conviction.
Yeah.
The convictions are coming. The war on corruption just started about a year ago. But also, Jeff and Hamo, we get a chance to change our country every 5 years. That's where our hope should come from. So that if you make a bad decision, you correct it in another 5 years. And 5 years is not a long time to wait. So you can fix the problems that this country has. But why don't we? Why do we go and elect somebody who you know will be in jail in 2 years? Yeah, because you can see people's character. You know, it's just like an interview for your business. You ask somebody, can I see your experience?
Yes.
Umefanya nini? Have you run a business like this before? Can I see the results? Before you bring them on board. But when it comes to politics, which is arguably the most important thing in every Kenyan's life, because your entire life depends on the services that government employs. You know, if the road is good, it will determine how much money you're going to spend on your car in the garage. If the security is bad, it will determine how much money you'll be spending on security guards. Or you can't go home after 5 p.m. because you are scared kupigwa ngeta. You know what I mean? So you depend if you are sick, you depend if the government is able to give you medicine or not. It's a matter of life and death. So it really depends on, your life depends on politics. And that's where we make our poorest decisions. So I think as Mwananchi, sometimes we have to say you deserve the leaders you elect. Because you're the one who stood up in the morning with your githeri on a line in Kayole for how many hours to vote in that person who you know very well cannot do the job.
Kumira.
No, because there's a track record. Unajua maisha ya mtu vile amefanya. Then now how do you come and give somebody a big institution that they have no idea how to run? Hata kama mtu ni mzuri, anakaa mzuri, anaongea mzuri, anakuchekesha, ni mtu mzuri tujakataa, lakini kazi hawezi fanya.
Tuoneshe ni nini unafanya. Unajua tufanye hiyo interview. We don't.
Lakini ni mtu mzuri.
Ni mtu mzuri. Lakini job hawezi chapa. What are we doing?
Atufanye hiyo interview. No, yetu inakuwa straight tu. Niachie kitu na niachie uende. Na ufungue nafasi.
Tumalizane tu saa hii.
Wiper wanakuja. Nisoge. Inakuwa ni haraka.
So hiyo lazima tubadilishe. Hiyo lazima. Because if you think about it, our problems are very small. You know, President Moi went to sleep for 24 years at midnight and he woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Every day for 24 years. When he was leaving, our economy was growing at -2%. Then you come some old mzee called President Kibaki, who went to bed at 9 p.m., woke up at 9 a.m., and maybe took an afternoon nap. And our economy grew 9 percentage points to 7%. And everyone had money in their pockets. Leadership, my friends, he knew what to do, and he understood leaders work through others. So he appointed some good team of guys, and he let them work. And even when his friends did not deliver, he fired them.
And we all thought Kibaki was asleep all along.
No, he wasn't.
He was working.
If you look at all his friends over his Makerere days, his golfing friends, he fired Kimunya, he fired Murungaru, he fired Matere Kereri, he fired Kiraitu at some point, even Saitoti at some point, because he was like, guys, you are my friends, but I need you to do a job for the people of Kenya. If you can't, you can still continue being my friend, lakini tafadhali
tukutane kwa golf.
Huko. Ziko ofisi hii imekushinda. That's leadership. And we saw the results.
Yes.
We saw the results. I myself am a beneficiary because I went to school in the United States. And all of a sudden I found all my friends from high school had money and cars. Na mimi niko huko nangangana huko na winter. I had to come running home ndio nisiwachwe nyumbani. I came running because of good leadership.
Yes.
Yeah, so but now it's scary. I'm hearing guys even now saying that they want to go back to other countries. Yeah, but our problems are very small. Hatuna shida mingi.
And they can be solved
Very quickly. You know, guys who have problems, Jeff, are guys in Israel, where it doesn't rain the whole year. Guys who have problems are guys in Russia, where you see the sun 1 month out of the year. The rest of the time, kama sai umechapa chupa ya vodka, so that you can keep warm. Those are real problems. Problems are in UAE, Dubai, where the entire countries are desert. And they are still able to build something out of it. Those are real problems. And here, if you want hot weather, you go to Mombasa. If you want a desert, you go to Garissa. If you want the winter, you go to the Abadeas, Kiambu hapa. If you want to be somewhere like New York, where you have all races and everything, you come to Nairobi. You have no problems. Very small. You can fix them in 1 year.
My goodness.
But we need to elect good leaders.
Lack of problems in Natuaribia. We are too casual for everything.
Someone once said, God gave us everything in Kenya.
Everything.
Weather, natural resources, the big five, everything.
And a very clever population.
No, wait. So then other countries were very jealous. And they said, God, how can you do this to these people? You've given them everything. He said, wait till you see the leadership.
Kumera.
So
You have seen that picture in Kibera?
man.
Oh my goodness. Watu watatu wakisimama, hiyo ni kongamano. Yani that is the desperation. Angalia tu hii picha. What is this? Angalia hiyo picha ya Weta. Hapo kando. Haki ya nani?
My God. And you know what, Deputy? The other day, NASA was one team. Now,
Ni kila mtu
Wamenaswa.
ajite.
Yeah. Actually, what you're seeing in Kibera is what cost us seats in Nairobi. I was a proponent of something called harmonization, and got fought quite a bit for it. But NASA had appointed me to come together and see how we can harmonize all our candidates. Because in some constituencies we had five candidates. There was a ODM candidate, a Wiper candidate, a CCM. Chama cha Mashinani candidate, ANC candidate, Ford Kenya candidate, and Jubilee had one person. And we're like, wait a minute, how do you expect to beat Jubilee? And you're splitting your vote 5 times. And we harmonized. We went and looked at all the constituencies, and we said in this constituency should be done, nomination should be done, and we filled one NASA candidate based on the strength or the population of that constituency. And I even flew to Kapenguria because this needed the decisions to be made by the principals. And they were that week. It was a week before nominations. We needed to clear this before nominations. They were campaigning in West Pokot. I actually flew to West Pokot to meet the principals and tabled for them a report saying, guys, I've sat down with the chairman of all the parties, and this is what we had decided, because I was chairing that team. This is what we've decided, and this is how we should get Nairobi broken down, all the way from the governor to the MCA. But that decision was not made, and we went to the polls, a divided house, and we fought against each other. So here in Kibera, you can see that, you know, brothers are fighting themselves just the same way they'd fight a complete outsider. Because if you have your brother on the ballot, there's no difference with him being on as an outsider. They're still your competitor, or they're still your opponent. So you spend a lot of energy on sibling rivalry, and at the end of the day, the results are seen. And that was the masterstroke Jubilee had in the last election. They said, guys, united, we are strong. Let's collapse all these parties into one big political machine. And boy, if you see the map of seats Jubilee won in this country, it's all red. Yeah, because they were one big party under one leader with one agenda, and you just can't beat that. And while we are 3 or 4 of us, you can't say it was a masterstroke, a political masterstroke by Jubilee.
Okay, since one final question, Bondebi, since you're such a student of history, and my goodness, it's incredible that for someone who was away for so long, you know your Kenyan history so well. How come no one party has successfully won an election, let's say twice? You know, the parties have to keep, even once, not twice, once. Every election cycle, the parties have different names or come under different umbrellas. How come?
Because they don't build parties as institutions. Parties belong to an individual. And so usually what happens, and a classic example is what happened with NAC and PNU. What happens is the party leader uses a proxy to register the party.
Yes.
And when they fall out with the proxy runs away with the certificate. Like you saw, Governor Ngilu put the NAC certificate in her handbag, and there's no man that can enter a lady's handbag. So the president had to go and form another party because his was stolen and run away with. So I think the guys who've been able to build a party as an institution is ODM. Yeah, ODM has been consistent from 2005 since they were formed. Actually, they were formed in 2007. In 2005, it was ODM Kenya. And when Honorable Kalonzo got booed with a nyundo at Afraha Stadium in Nakuru, guess who owned ODM Kenya?
Honorable Kalonzo.
Honorable Kalonzo. So akaweka huko, and all of a sudden, Raila found himself as the most popular presidential candidate without a party. So they had to go and buy ODM from Tony Shege and a guy called Imanyara, and that's how they got ODM. And so he's built it consistently across 3 elections, and it's an institution that works. We thought Jubilee was going to be that way. It's still too early to tell. But once they collapsed all the parties into one, for me that was such a clever political masterstroke under one leader. But now we are seeing cracks, Kieleweke and Tanga Tanga. You should not be seeing that in a political party. But if they can overcome that, then Jubilee will be another party that's built strongly as an institution.
We can say stand by or stay tuned, as they say in the business. Simon Kigondu says, excellent political analysis by Jonathan Mweke. We need to elect good leaders. Keep it up, Mweshimiwa, and please run in the next election.
Thank you. Thank you, Simon. He's noted. Na salamu zimefika.
We've been talking live with former Deputy Governor of Nairobi County, number 047.